The next wave of Infernoble Knight support releasing in Duelist Nexus actually lets Infernoble Knights exist as their own strategy without the use of Smoke Grenade of the Thief. Of course, what everyone really cares about isn't the potential competitive relevancy of a briefly popular deck, it's how we can use this strategy to enable one of the worst, yet most loved strategies in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's time, once again, to pretend that Noble Knights are playable. So, the current goal of Infernoble Knights is to make the new level 5 Synchro monster Angelica Princess of Noble Arms. She gives us a foolish burial of any Infernoble Knight monster, plus a search for the field spell that lets us search for any Noble Arms card. From this dump, we can easily go into Infernoble Knight King Charles, and then Charlemagne for double Charles plus negate on the field. This is important for Noble Knights because at their most basic level, Noble Knights function as a series of starters for Infernoble Knight plays. For example, we can use Noble Knight Madralt plus any Infernoble Knight equip spell to create an unhand trappable starter. Madralt can summon any Noble Knight monster from the deck, and then pop an equip spell equipped to him. If we special summon Infernoble Knight Reynald, we can immediately add back the equip spell we popped, and then we can make Isolde off of the two monsters, and go into the full Infernoble Knight combo. If the opponent Ash Blossoms, or activates Infinite Impermanence on Madralt, we can use the Infernoble Knight equip spell, and go for Fireflint Lady, or a different Infernoble Knight, depending on the hand. Thus we can make Isolde anyway. Do ignore that Isolde is the actual correct choke point to hit in the combo, but we send the equip spells as cost anyway, so we actually can still kind of play around it. A much stronger combo is using Unexpected Die plus Noble Knight Gawain. Unexpected Die is actually a fantastic extender in the deck, as it makes it extremely easy to get into Isolde. But if we have Gawain in hand, we can immediately special summon him to go into Isolde. Isolde is going to let us dump 4 equip spells to special summon out Giga Chad. The 4 you dump are Destiny, Excalibur, Durandal, and Almace. Then we can use Giga Chad's effect to add back to hand Gawain. Trust me, you will have an equip in hand for this. While we could just make Apollosa here, there's a much better option. We can make Auturgus to equip 3 of the spells we just sent to Graveyard with Isolde. This is a potential +2, as we can trigger our Infernoble Knight spells for searching, while the remaining equip spells make our XYZs into a Towers monster in the process. This is the bread and butter of the deck, while making Auturgus while setting up for Infernoble Knight plays as a base. Not to mention, this is all tied together by the absurd amount of graveyard recursion this deck presents. Now there's one more thing worth considering. We can use Charles' effect, the Pop Castinian, to immediately go into the rank 5 Auturgus. It works out as a way to remove 3 cards from the opponent's field and the recur value from our equip spells in game. It's a ridiculously good recursion, especially since the rank 5 Auturgus also gets recursion when he leaves the field. Here's my deck list for Infernoble Noble Knights. It's absurdly consistent, since any 2 warrior monsters on the field are full combo thanks to Isolde. If they do happen to hand trap Isolde, you're just going to be going into the Noble Knight XYZs and sitting on a Towers monster. It's not as good, but it's not as bad as you first might think. Lastly, it's also important to note that there are 2 cards you're going to be searching off of Isolde's first effect when she's special summoned. We can go for Roland if we want to have an extra equip in hand, if we want to play around our 2 Charles, or we can search for Giga Chad if we want to have some recursion later on. If you think your board's going to get blown up, you can also search for Madralt, although that's a very niche and risky play. Lastly, here are a few warnings for things that don't work in this deck. Do note that the Infernoble Knight monsters are not Noble Arms equip spells when they are equipped. This means you cannot use them to trigger Madralt's effect if you want to, let's say, equip them from grave. This is why Guinevere works when the other ones do not. Second, Charlemagne and Angelica aren't Noble Knights, so they lock us out of using most Noble Knight support. They single-handedly stop us from using Brothers, Castinian, and Merlin in the deck, which is a shame because they would give us some really good lines of play we could go into. Unfortunately, Konami had to restrict the archetype that has never done anything competitive in its entire existence, being name locked. Lastly, Morgan, the Noble Knight hand trap, doesn't work well as a counter hand trap, since it destroys your equip spell to work. Remember, the Infernoble Knight equip spells, unlike the Noble Knight equip spells, don't come back. And that's all. Thanks for watching. Someone better break this deck more than I have and win an event with it. Please subscribe if you want more videos like this. I'll see you guys next time.